Welcome to Cyber Salon and welcome to Games for Good series. We've been running that series for a couple of years now. And the main event today is about exploring games and collaboration. So I'll be talking a little bit introduction about what is collaboration, how we can define it. Then we'll have few reviews of games that we thought were particularly salient to collaboration and digital cultures. And we're hoping to get Skype with Douglas Rashkov at 8 o'clock. And after wrap-up, students will do reviews of the games in the foyer, and then we probably wrap up by about 10 o'clock. So just very briefly, Cyber Salon has been born out of combination of the first word Cyber Cafe, which we started back in 1994, just a while ago. And about 1997, it started going horribly wrong because cookies arrived and the surveillance machine kicked in, and we figured out that this is not going to be a smooth ride. So we got together with Hypermedia Research Center, which was the world's first hypertext new media degree, which Richard Barbrook founded in Westminster. And we started developing more of a critical media study and critical engineering approach to what was going on our screens. So early as it was already looking a bit dodgy. And I think since then it only got worse. So Siberia was my experience of collaboration, probably my first one. 4 very different people, a techie, a business guy, an events person, an UX person. I know quite a few of them, of you here, UX people. So UX is very central to Siberia. And this is what the first cyber cafe looked like, with huge computers, which were initially used for gaming, but also a little bit of email. People used to take, well, at the beginning we only have Mosaic, so it wasn't much of a browsing. But if you see the size of the machines, well, they were small comparing to what everybody else had. But slowly, we migrated more into gaming, and under Siberia, we created something called Sub-Siberia, which was basically a gaming den. And people like Richard Bartlett, Dungeon and Dragon people started coming and gaming there. Again, we used to lock the door and just feed them pizza and see what they emerge like in the morning. And actually, Siberia was a really successful collaboration because although each of us 4 partners had very different interests, we all came together in this new media space to create something that each of us wanted to add to the conversation. So my contribution was training for women. My idea of Siberia was there was supposed to be just women training, except when we opened, we had, queue 3 deep around the block, but only blokes. So that was the business plan that never really happened. And it took me, I think, good 3 years to get any women inside, but that's a separate story. So as we developed the concept of games and digital culture, we started investigating the kind of issues that are coming to the surface of digital world. So the last event was Games Against Hate. We reviewed few games that I thoroughly recommend. There is a video from that event. I think hate is more motivating than doing good things. So today we wanted to talk a little bit about good things, which is collaboration. But why collaboration? Why are we even talking about it? Because we're just so bad at that. Collaboration is something that seems to be a challenge for humanity that we can never crack. So we talk about it. There is thousands of scientific papers about collaboration, yet we're just not very good at it. So this recent few years, the massive failures of collaboration, obviously refugee situation, only 20 million people, yet we can't solve it, house it, figure it out. It's just not happening. And in Zakaria in Jordan, there's 3rd generation of children living in refugee camp. That is not a failure of collaboration. I don't know what is. Well, obviously, our homegrown failures. So over 16 million of us Remainers did not manage to organize ourselves properly to fight this all bullshit. Unfortunately, we lost. Massive failure, a lot to learn from. And obviously, the failure of the failures, which is Labour Party. I know many of you are on that side, but that was just, I wouldn't give them to organize Peace Up in the Brewery. And a shit show of the year. So I think we have to stop, think, review, and try to learn what we can do better, because how such a powerful bunch of organizations like unions, civic organizations, 500,000 members, how we couldn't get it together in any constructive shape. It's a big mystery. So let's unbundle it. And obviously the most recent failures, ecosystem is burning, kangaroos are not in the best of shape, yet everybody's talking, nobody's doing anything. And our own far-right rise in UK, Hungary, India, also in Poland, where I'm from, that's just looking like it's going to be worse than ever. So who is in charge and who are we up against? So what's the collaboration has to face? So at the moment we have two dictators and a populist, neither of them interested in ecology, conservation, refugees, and they learn one thing, that hate is a bigger driver than the need to do good. So we just have to rebalance it somehow. And I was born in Poland, so I can tell you democracy and ecology are absolutely, they need each other. No democracy, no ecological movement. So we have to fight for the democracy before we fight for the ecology, because one has got to have another. But there are successes, which we're going to look at today. So obviously the Thai Boys Rescue Mission was an amazing agile collaboration success, despite the burst attempts of Elon Musk trying to ruin it for everybody and dropping his ego on top of quite well-organized event. They managed to do an amazing feat against all odds. And I think the lessons from there we should be studying for years to come. It was also very interesting, the leadership of that. We looked quite a bit at the leadership of the process. It was a very fluid leadership. There wasn't really somebody, an admiral at the beginning and an admiral at the end. It was very much a flexing situation where whoever looked like they knew most about any phase or episode of that rescue was given the charge. So they were able to flex and follow and lead as the situation was developing. So I think that is something that games can let us develop. And obviously my personal favorite, Wikipedia. Wikipedia is kind of like a slow collaboration. It's not rescuing Thai boys, it's not getting front pages, but many of us here are involved in it, and it's got the process. It may not have the truth, but it's got the process how to get to something resembling it. And it's got the trust, it's got very, very detailed, very arcane management, but something that works and something that we probably should consider following in great detail. Something that I wasn't aware of, but thank you to the emails from the Italians. We were looking for examples of collaboration, more recent. So there's a movement in Italy, and the Italians around? There's a movement in Italy at the moment called Sardines. So this is basically a movement against the far right, which doesn't really want to follow the populist Movimiento 5 Star, because that has gone towards very far right universe. And this is young people trying to organize themselves against the far right and against the corruption, against the mafia. Their symbol is sardines because there is more of us than them. And so far, they've been making really good noise and offsetting what's happening with Salvini. So I think we will follow them because it just gives a little bit of hope. So why games? Because if you look at the probably most typical age of gamers, so 26 to 35, there was a massive increase last year on the average hours spent online gaming. This also includes mobile gaming, so it doesn't mean that we suddenly discovered extra 2 spare hours to check at the games. It's more commute gaming, but all in all, it has gone up and up and up. So what is the opportunity that we can explore within the gaming universe, and how can we share the experience of collaboration in games, which is a very mature experience in many ways, with the external world? So going back to where we started from, we always look at archetypes and what's at the beginning of the beginning. So the Greeks had a very good concept of gaming. Athena is a goddess of games and collaboration. So we decided to run this program as a cult of Athena of the gamers. And what she was teaching us is there is a hierarchy, society of hierarchy, but also society of equals. So the collaboration of equals is something that we probably have an opportunity to develop, train, and practice within the game environment. It's kind of 5 issues that we're focusing on. So flexing, trust, empathy, process, and rewards. Rewards is probably the key. Not that many people talk about collaboration with rewards. A lot of people consider collaboration as a positive process in itself, that being part of collaboration is already good. It might be within Wikipedia, but we've noticed that within everything else, you need to be extremely clear about what are the rewards and how is the sharing of the rewards going to be executed. I think that was probably one of the biggest problems with Labour Party approach, because it wasn't very clear what was in it for anybody. It was very clear with the Johnson campaign, it wasn't clear with Labour. So the trust, empathy, process and rewards, but obviously they're underpinned by tools. So tools for communication, content management, workflow, you know, the little nitty-gritty detail that make projects successful or not. And when we looked at the kind of more abstract understanding of collaboration, if you look at the collaboration, it's actually the hardest of all approaches because it needs high assertiveness and high cooperativeness. These things generally kind of back against each other. So really to be a good collaborator, you have to practice a lot because either you fall into one or another. So just to round it up, so basically what is collaboration? It's all these things that we know about, but it's the responsibility, mutual authority, accountability for success, and sharing the rewards. In games, comes naturally. Outside of games, we're still struggling. And the times are complex. So if you look at the beginning, people called in experts to solve problems around 1900. Then by 1950, when everybody got smarter, the media got better, more people started solving problems. At the moment, we have to solve problems of the whole system, so we still have experts trying to do it, but what really we need to do is everybody needs to solve problems of whole systems. So we all just need to smarten up quickly. But we have allies, so we just started working with these guys. So Open Society University Network just kicked off in Berlin through University Bard College, Berlin and New York, and we underpinning our developments with them. So basically anybody who's interested in collaboration, civic stuff and gaming can join in the network. And our very good colleague, Gavin Stark, has just launched Icebreaker One, which is collaboration open data for climate crisis. They just got £1 million funding. And again, looking for help and collaboration for people who do open data. So anyone with interest in that, talk to us after. So that's kind of the shape of where we're looking, and we'd like to cover more specific examples of collaboration gaming through reviews of free games. So the next one, if I can invite Ben. Yes. He will talk about a specific game which we picked, A, because it was very beautiful, we just want to talk about beautiful games, but also because it seemed appropriate.